Hi, I'm Alicia Mowry, the President-elect of the Ohio School Public Relations Association and the Public Information Officer at the Delaware Area Career Center. And today with me, I have our past president, Patrick Gallaway. He is the Communications Director at New Albany Plain Local Schools. So welcome, Patrick. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for chatting with me today.
So we want to get to know our board members a little bit better. We have this team of people who work really hard all year long. They meet once a month. They talk about all the great things that school communicators in Ohio should be learning, could be doing. And Patrick has been at the helm of what we do for a couple of years now and involved in OSPA for as long as I can remember, as long as I have been in school PR. So I'm excited to lob some questions your way and get to know you a little better, Patrick.
Absolutely.
So how long have you been working in PR in general?
Ooh, PR in general. So I'm going to date myself, but I actually consider, my first job out of college was really PR because I worked as a assistant director of admissions at the University of Akron. So I was recruitment. I was traveling parts of the state and even Pennsylvania and recruiting students, usually 10 months or 10 months of the year usually. Then I moved to Columbus in 97 and I worked for several state agencies. So not necessarily in school communications, but public information is what I would call it. Probably my favorite of those jobs was I was the director of communications for a former Ohio Secretary of State, Jennifer Brunner, who's now a Supreme Court Justice, just recently elected, which is exciting for her. But that was an amazing job. I felt like I was part of her family. I mean, it was really pretty cool. And we also got to run the 2008 election, which was historic, and it was really neat. So then our term ended because she was trying to make a run for U.S. Senate. And the cards weren't in her favor that year. And I had to find a new gig, basically. That's when I discovered education. So I ended up at the Ohio Department of Education as the media relations director for statewide, which basically meant I was fielding reporter calls, inquiries, press releases, everything from the entire state.
Wow.
So that is not an easy job. It was challenging. Every day you're juggling, am I going to respond to 10 TV today, or am I going to respond to the Marietta Times? And no offense to the Marietta Times, but you sometimes had to prioritize, what's the burning issue right now? So that was fun. So I did that about a year and a half. And then a former deputy superintendent for the state ended up here in New Albany Schools as our director of human capital, HR, that sort of thing. And one day she called me up saying, they're in search of a communication director. So it was a really interesting experience, but it was like that. I mean, it happened so fast. So.
And how did it feel to go from like a big state agency to being able to focus on just one school?
Night and day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are great benefits working for the state, don't get me wrong, but at ODE, for me, I just always felt a bit detached from the work. And coming to a district like New Albany, we've got, about 5,000 students. At the time, it was less, maybe 4,600. But being here on a daily basis, walking the hallways, being on the campus, engaging with what these students are doing, it takes my breath away. I mean, every day. I mean, I have a student intern this past summer who actually this morning presented her senior seminar. And what I loved about what she must have got from me over the summer was, I want to have a job that I love every day. And that really came through in her presentation this morning. So.
Yeah, well, I love seeing your posts where you're showing off what the theater does, and when you're at the football games, I mean, you can tell you just really love being in the thick of it and seeing everything that goes on.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So talk to me about OSPRA. How long have you been involved on the OSPRA board?
Well, I started my job here in New Albany in July of 2012. Within a week, I was in Chicago at the National School PR Association annual seminar.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, like my superintendent said, hey, we're sending you to INSPRA. I'm like, okay.
Great.
So when I hit the ground running there, I met all of these OSPR people. So I met the president at the time was Shane Haggerty, who's still here in the Central Ohio area, of course. I met Erica Daggett. I met Patty Coslow. I mean, just tons of people who many are still engaged with the board. And so that was great way to get my feet wet. And then about August, I got a call from Shane Haggerty saying, "Hey, welcome to school PR. we need a membership director on the board. Would you be interested?" So I jumped right in. So I've been on this board for almost 9 years now.
Oh,
So.
great. And you can't say no to Shane. When Shane calls you and says, "Hey, can you come do this?" You kind of
Right.
just have to say, "Sure, why not?"
Yeah, absolutely.
So either just through your time on the board or as president, because you were president, you started out as president-elect, then president, now you're past president. Is there anything that you've learned from serving on the board or from working with all of these schools across Ohio?
I think the biggest thing I've learned is developing a bit of a leadership, I guess, skills, what I'll call it, as I've gone along. I was very intimidated at first when I was asked to do president-elect, because I've never been like the perfect Robert's Rules of Order kind of guy. And, can't we just do we have to do a full roll call? Can't we just say aye and nay and, that kind of thing? And if most people that know me know I'm a pretty laid back person, so I don't like the rigidness of some of that. But, I've kind of learned and worked my way through some of those things, and I'm a better person on the other side for that. But I think the other thing is just the first benefit is the camaraderie. Having this group of individuals that I can bounce things off across the state, and knowing that a lot of us are in the same boat, dealing with the same issues. The other thing is that translates beyond the board. So what I also love is when I meet maybe new members who, will call me up and ask for advice, or, maybe I need to call someone and say, "Hi, how are you handling this in your school district?" The other things that also come about is, you see someone struggling, and it's nice that you can try to reach out and help them. So, I mean, those are all the things that I find so valuable about being part of OSPRA and the board.
Awesome. So you're also involved in NSPRA. So tell me what you're learning by being involved in NSPRA, what you're hearing, or what we should know here in Ohio that's going on in NSPRA right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am in my second year as the Mid-East Region Vice President for NSPRA. So that is the states of Michigan, state chapters, Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, and then CHESPRA, which is the Chesapeake. So it's West Virginia, DC, and Maryland. So they're like one combined organization. I am learning so much from the things that a lot of them are dealing with that maybe we're not in Ohio. There's just, it's interesting because you always think that everyone's dealing with the same stuff, right? They have some other issues that they're dealing with at times. So I'm learning a lot about how I can try to help them, and also from the national perspective. The other thing is being on the national board, it's really heightened my awareness of so much. The other board members that I serve with are coming from really diverse backgrounds and worlds. I mean, we're talking people that are working in school districts that are 50,000 people plus. And I'm thinking, wow, like I come back to New Albany and think this is like a lot simpler than what some of these people are challenged by every day. So there's that. The exciting news with NSPRA right now, and if you are members, you know this, we've just hired a new executive director, Barbara Hunter, who, kudos to Rich Baggin, who is retiring in the process of, 30 years of his life went into this organization. That's amazing. And I've learned so much from him in such a short amount of time. I wish I would have gotten to serve longer with him. But we're on charting a new course. So we've already started our first phase of a strategic planning process, which began early December. And we will be meeting monthly on Friday Zoom calls once a month to continue that process and keep the momentum going. I think that the goal is possibly by April, we'll see something in a really good shape, but it'll all be sort of rolled out and unveiled in the summer in connection with the national seminar. So.
Oh, great.
It's really, it's an exciting time. I mean, I'm proud to be a part of it, and fortunate to be there at this time in our world, so.
Absolutely. Well, for someone who was hesitant to take on the president-elect role for OSPRA, you're certainly getting involved in all sorts of ways. And I joined OSPRA the year that you were president, and I would never have guessed that you didn't have just a wealth of experience leading a group of people, because I appreciated all of your leadership and all of your advice along the way. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. That's
And
what we're for.
yeah, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And it was really great to get to know you a little bit and share all of this information with our OSPRA members.
Okay, I appreciate it, Alicia. I look for great things from you in the future.
Thanks.